Let me tell you something that most people overlook in their chase for success. It's not your talent, it's not your timing, it's not even your network, it's your character, and it's your integrity. Because success built without integrity is like a house built on sand. It may look impressive, but give it time, it won't last. See, the marketplace will reward you for your skill, but life will reward you for your character, your word, your values, the decisions you make when no one's watching. That's what determines if success sticks or slips. Now, I know the world is fast and loud, and it's constantly trying to convince you that image matters more than substance. But I'm here to remind you, character is the real wealth, and integrity. That's your invisible currency. It buys you trust, respect, and peace of mind. So in this video, we're not talking fluff. We're going to break down, step by step, how to build a life so strong, so principled, that it attracts the kind of success that lasts. Not just what you achieve, but who you become in the process. So if you're ready to trade empty applause for lasting respect, if you're ready to build a foundation no storm can shake, then stay with me. Let's talk about the power of character and integrity. Character is built daily, not declared. You don't declare character, folks. You demonstrate it. You earn it. And here's the truth. You build it, one decision at a time. Character isn't something you hang on the wall. It's not a speech you give. It's not a title, or a talent, or a tattoo on your arm. Character is what shows up in your actions, especially when the pressure is on and no one's keeping score. See, anybody can say the right things when the lights are bright and the cameras are rolling. But who are you when it's quiet? Who are you when the deal falls through? When someone talks behind your back, when you've got the opportunity to cut corners and nobody would know. That's when character walks in. And here's the lesson. It's not built in a day, but it is built every day. Now let me ask you, what did you do today to build your character? Not your resume, not your reputation, your character. Because the resume is what you write. The reputation is what others think. But character, that's who you are when no one's looking. It's in the small choices. Did you show up on time? Did you follow through? Did you tell the truth? Even when a little lie might have made it easier. Because here's what I've learned. Character is like a muscle. You've got to work it. And the more consistently you train it, the stronger it gets. But skip a day, cut a corner, look the other way, and just like a muscle, it weakens. Let me give you a picture. Imagine every day you're placing bricks. Each brick is a choice, a truth told, a promise kept, a temptation resisted. And slowly you build a structure called trust, called honor, called legacy. But let me warn you, one careless day, one shortcut, one compromise, and you crack that foundation. It doesn't collapse right away. Oh no, it stays standing for a while, but eventually it crumbles. Not because of one big mistake, but because the little ones added up. That's why I tell young people, and old ones too, don't just chase success, chase strength of character. Because success without character, that's a trap, and it's temporary. You see, we live in a world that applauds performance, but character is quiet. It doesn't tweet, it doesn't trend, but it lasts. And in the end, it speaks louder than any spotlight ever could. Now let's get practical. You want to build character? Start with these 3 habits. 1, finish what you start. If you said you'd do it, do it. Not when it's easy, not when you feel like it, but because your word matters. When you finish what you start, you train your brain and your reputation that you're reliable. That's character. 2, tell the truth. Always, even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it might cost you something. Because every lie buys comfort at the cost of your soul. And you can't cash in both. 3, do the right thing. Even when no one is watching. This is the heart of it, isn't it? Integrity is private victory, long before it's public respect. And when you win in private, you walk taller in public. Let me tell you, when you build character, you don't have to chase opportunities. They'll come find you, because the world is hungry, starving for people who are true, people who don't flinch under pressure, people who can be trusted with power, with responsibility, with results. So don't just work on your image, work on your inner world. Fix the foundation before you decorate the facade. Because if your character is solid, everything else can rise safely on top. And if you've failed before, if you've broken trust, missed the mark, made mistakes, welcome to the club. That's where character begins too, with honest reflection. Start again. Start today. Place the next brick, because every day is a fresh opportunity to build the person you're proud to become. And one day, when your name comes up in a room full of people, they'll say, "That's someone I can count on." And that, my friend, is the reward of building character. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when it hurts. Let's get something straight from the start. Integrity isn't convenient, it isn't easy, and it certainly isn't always rewarded right away. But it is always the right thing to do. Integrity means doing what's right, not what's easy, not what's profitable, not what makes people clap, but what aligns with your values, even if it costs you. Now people ask me, "Jim, how do I know if I'm living with integrity?" And I say, look at your choices when there's something to lose. See, anybody can talk about values when there's nothing at stake. Anybody can claim to be honest when the truth is harmless. But when your income, your image, your comfort is on the line, that's when integrity stands up and says, do what's right anyway. That's the moment. Let me tell you something my mentor told me. You don't measure a person by what they say on stage. You measure them by what they do in the shadows. Integrity is not a slogan. It's not a social media quote. It's a decision, a hard decision. You make over and over again. You return the extra change. You admit the mistake before you're caught. You walk away from a deal that benefits you, but betrays the trust of others. That's integrity. And yes, it hurts sometimes. But here's the catch. Integrity only hurts in the short term. It rewards in the long term. Because while everyone else is chasing shortcuts, cutting corners, living on loopholes, you're building something unshakable. You're building trust. You're building credibility. You're building a life you won't have to apologize for later. Now I know what the world says. Look out for yourself. Do what you've got to do. Everyone else is bending the rules. Why not you? Let me tell you why not. Because nothing valuable is built on broken values. You want to build something that lasts, then you better build it on something solid. An integrity that's as solid as it gets. Let me give you 3 quick truths about integrity. Write them down. Live them out. 1. Integrity costs now but pays forever. It might cost you a deal. It might cost you a friend. It might even cost you a job. But what you gain, peace of mind, sleep at night, and a future that's clean, clear, and strong. That's worth everything. 2. Integrity is tested, never assumed. You don't know you have integrity just because you believe in honesty. You find out when telling the truth hurts. You find out when saying no means walking away from easy money. That's the test. And passing it. That's how you grow. 3. Integrity builds reputation without marketing. You don't have to advertise it. People feel it, they see it in your follow-through. They sense it in your tone, and they'll come to you, not just because you're skilled, but because you're trusted. Now let me tell you a little story. A friend of mine, sharp businessman, hard worker, he was offered a deal, big money, big opportunity, but there was a catch. The numbers were off. The client would never know, and my friend, he'd never be caught. You know what he said? I'd rather lose the deal than lose my integrity. And he walked away. Now at the time it hurt. He felt like he missed out. But guess what? That one act, word got around. More doors opened. Better deals came. And not just more money, but more trust. Because he proved he could be counted on. That's what integrity does. It positions you. It protects you. And it prepares you for bigger, better responsibilities. Because the truth is this. The world is watching. And while it may not applaud your integrity immediately, it remembers it. And one day, it rewards it. So let me challenge you right now. What's one area of your life where you're tempted to compromise? Where are you rationalizing instead of standing firm? Who would you become if you chose what's right, even when it costs? Because here's the principle, and I hope you'll never forget it. If you do what's right long enough, eventually you'll do well. And when you do well with integrity, that's not just success. That's significance. So don't sell your soul for a shortcut. Don't trade your future for a few cheap wins. And don't ever believe that success without integrity is real. Choose the harder right over the easier wrong. Do what's right, even when it hurts. And watch how the world begins to trust, respect, and follow your example. That's the power of integrity. You can't borrow integrity. It must be earned. You can borrow a suit. You can borrow a car. You can even borrow someone's reputation for a while. But you can't borrow integrity. Not for a moment. Because integrity isn't given, it's earned. And once earned, it's yours. But until then, you're just hoping people don't look too close. See, integrity is like credit, but in reverse. The bank won't give you money unless you've proven you can handle responsibility. And life? Life won't give you influence, leadership, or legacy unless you've proven you can handle the truth. You can't rent character. You can't lease honesty. You've got to own it. And ownership comes from investment. So how do you earn integrity? One small, honest action at a time. You show up when you say you will. You follow through even when it's inconvenient. You correct the error, even when no one else noticed. Not because you have to, but because you told yourself you would. That's integrity. Now here's what's interesting. Nobody sees the price you pay to earn it. They just see the outcome. They see the trust. They see the respect. They see the steady rise of someone who doesn't need to shout to be heard. That's earned, not borrowed. But let me tell you what a lot of people try to do. They want the reputation of integrity, without the responsibility of living it. They want to be seen as honest, but they tell small lies. They want to be called trustworthy, but they miss deadlines, avoid accountability, make excuses. And then they wonder, why don't people take me seriously? Why aren't opportunities sticking? Simple. The world knows when you're renting your values, because rented values break under pressure. Borrowed character collapses when the heat rises. But earned integrity, that's unshakable. Let me give you 3 timeless truths about earning integrity. 1. You earn integrity through consistency. Not big, flashy acts of morality, but small, repetitive decisions. You tell the truth when it's hard. Again, you keep the promise when you're tired. Again, you stand up for what's right. Again, and over time, those choices become a reputation. That's the reward of being consistent in your character. 2. You earn integrity when you choose principles over popularity. There will come a time, maybe it's already come, when doing the right thing will make you less liked. Let it. Because integrity means standing tall. Even if you stand alone, people may not agree with you, but they'll respect you. And in the long run, respect always outlasts applause. 3. You earn integrity by owning your mistakes. Not hiding them. Not spinning the story, but saying that was on me. I'll fix it. Do that a few times, and people will trust you more, not less. Because the most powerful thing you can be is human and honest. Let me tell you something. My father told me, son, if you break something, admit it. If you hurt someone, apologize. And if you say you'll do it like your life depends on it. That's not just good advice. That's a life philosophy, a standard. And once you live by that standard, you'll never have to worry about who's watching, because you'll live the same in the dark as you do in the light. Now let's talk results. People ask me, Jim, what's the return on living with integrity? I'll tell you, doors will open, relationships will deepen, your name will carry weight, and your life will feel lighter, because truth doesn't need defending. It just is. You'll attract better partners, better clients, better friends, because integrity is magnetic. It pulls in people who live with the same code, and it repels the ones who never planned to honor the deal in the first place. So let me ask you, where are you renting when you should be owning? Where are you putting on a mask when you could be living by a model? This world doesn't need more influencers. It needs more examples. Men and women who walk their talk, who speak truth without flinching, who don't borrow integrity from someone else's reputation, but earn it one decision at a time. That kind of life. It's not always easy, but it's always powerful. So stop borrowing, start building, and let your integrity be your signature. Bold, unmistakable, and fully your own. Integrity attracts the right people. Let me give you a success principle that's worth writing down. Integrity doesn't just define your character, it defines your company. Because the kind of life you build is directly shaped by the kind of people you surround yourself with. And the kind of people you attract is directly shaped by your values. Now here's the hard truth. You don't attract who you want. You attract who you are. And if you want loyal clients, committed partners, trustworthy friends, then you must first become the kind of person those people want to align with. That's where integrity comes in. Because integrity is like a silent announcement to the world. It says, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is how I treat people, whether you're watching or not. And people hear that, not through your words, but through your consistency, your follow-through, your unshakable principles. See, people of integrity, they can smell authenticity. They can also smell fake. And let me tell you, the ones you truly want in your life, the wise, the principled, the builders, the givers, they're not looking for flash. They're looking for foundation. They're not impressed by your image. They're watching your integrity. Now I know what some people say, Jim, I'm honest, but nobody sees it. Trust me, they do. It just takes time. Because integrity isn't a neon sign. It's a reputation that grows slowly, quietly, and then one day, powerfully. So let me give you a few examples. When you deliver work on time, even when the deadline isn't strict. When you return the call, even if you know the person can't help you right now. When you honor your word, even when it no longer benefits you, people notice, and they begin to say things like, I trust that guy. She's solid. If they said it, it's done. And just like that, you're magnetic. Let me give you 3 core ways that integrity attracts the right people. 1. Integrity acts as a filter. When you stand for something, people who don't stand for it, they fade away. That's good. That's healthy. You don't want everyone in your life, you want the right ones. And integrity acts as a natural sorting system. It draws in those who match your standard, and quietly sends the rest on their way. 2. Integrity builds invisible bridges. It creates connection with people you haven't even met yet. Why? Because word travels. Your name gets passed around. You walk into rooms where someone already believes, I've heard about you, you're the real deal. That's not luck. That's character compounding. 3. Integrity earns long-term loyalty. Listen, talent may open the first door, but trust keeps it open. And once people trust your integrity, they won't just work with you, they'll stand by you. When storms hit, they won't run. When mistakes happen, they won't jump ship, because they know your anchor is integrity. So let me ask you, who's around you right now? Look closely. Are you surrounded by people who challenge you, strengthen you, elevate you? Or are you tolerating people who lie easy, fold under pressure, and trade loyalty for short-term gain? If it's the latter, that's not a sign to blame them. It's a sign to tighten your integrity. Because when you change your standard, your circle changes too. It doesn't mean you'll be surrounded by perfect people, but you will be surrounded by principled people. The kind who say what they mean. The kind who don't play games. The kind who lift you higher just by standing beside you. And here's the beautiful part. The stronger your integrity, the less you have to go out and search for the right people. They'll come to you. They'll hear about you. They'll feel something different when they deal with you. They'll say there's just something about them. I trust them. And you won't have to sell yourself. Your character will do the talking. So what's the action here? Tighten your follow-through. Speak the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Do what's right when no one's watching. Because someone is watching. And the more you live with integrity, the more you create a gravitational pull that draws the right people, the right opportunities, and the right outcomes straight to you. Integrity doesn't just make you better. It makes everything around you better. It sets a tone, raises a bar, and creates a community of trust. So raise your standard, let your word become your brand, and watch how the world reshapes around a person who refuses to bend their values for convenience. That's the magnetic power of integrity. That's how you attract the right people, by becoming one first. The mirror principle, you become what you tolerate. Let me give you a principle that changed my life. What you tolerate, you invite. And what you invite, you eventually become. I call it the mirror principle, because life, my friend, is a mirror. It reflects not just what you say you believe, but what you're willing to accept. Now that's a tough pill to swallow, isn't it? Because we all like to think we're high-standard people, that we value excellence, that we walk with integrity. But the mirror doesn't lie, and if you're tolerating sloppy work, broken promises, missed deadlines, negative talk, or people who drain your energy, that's not just around you, it's in you. And here's the truth. I want to deliver right to your front door. You can't build a life of greatness while tolerating mediocrity. You can't live with discipline while allowing chaos to rent space in your daily routine. Because what you tolerate becomes normal, and what's normal becomes invisible. And before long, you don't even see how low the standard has fallen. Let me tell you something personal. There was a time in my life when I looked successful on the outside, but I was tolerating way too much on the inside. Late nights without purpose, conversations that lacked truth, excuses wrapped in clever words. And then it hit me. Jim, you're not just attracting this, you're allowing it. And when you allow something, you approve it. That's when I made the decision to raise the standard, not just for others, but for myself. And you can do that too, today. So let me ask you, what are you tolerating that's quietly training you to accept less than you deserve? Let's go through it. Are you tolerating being disrespected because you're afraid of confrontation? Are you tolerating laziness because it's easier than accountability? Are you tolerating your own procrastination because starting is uncomfortable? Are you tolerating a circle of people who joke about failure and avoid responsibility because it's more fun than discipline? Remember this. Every time you let something slide, you slide with it. And the scary part? You don't slide all at once. You slide slowly, inch by inch, until one day you're living a life you never intended to build. So what's the solution? Raise the mirror. Look at what's around you, and then ask, what does this say about me? Because your environment is a reflection of your inner standards. Your habits are a reflection of your self-worth. Your relationships are a reflection of your values. And your results, they are the perfect mirror of what you've tolerated over time. Let me give you 3 practical actions to raise your standard today. 1. Audit your circle. Who's around you? Who do you let speak into your life? Do they challenge you to be better or enable you to stay the same? Remember, what you tolerate in others reflects what you believe about yourself. 2. Reclaim your time. If your calendar is filled with distractions, gossip, or tasks that drain your purpose, that's on you. Tighten it. Your schedule is your mirror. It reflects your focus. And if it's chaotic, your life will be too. 3. Call yourself out. If you miss a promise, own it. If you slack off, correct it. Stop negotiating with weakness. Every time you call yourself to a higher standard, you strengthen your character. Now, don't misunderstand. Raising your standard doesn't mean you become judgmental, arrogant, or unkind. It means you become intentional. You start treating your character like a garden. You pull the weeds, you clear the clutter, and you only allow what will grow something worthwhile. Because in the end, your life is the fruit of what you've allowed. Let me wrap this up with a challenge. Stop hoping for change while tolerating the very things holding you back. You want better results? Raise the mirror. You want better relationships? Raise the mirror. You want a stronger, more disciplined life? Raise the mirror and raise the bar. Because the person you become is not shaped by what you desire. It's shaped by what you refuse to accept. And if you refuse to tolerate anything less than truth, effort, respect, growth, and excellence, then guess what? That's exactly what you'll start becoming. And when that happens, you won't need to demand better. You'll attract it. That's the mirror principle. That's how your life changes, not by shouting it, but by living it. Your word is a contract. Honor it. Let me give you something that'll shape your life, your business, your reputation forever. Your word is a contract. And the moment you say something, you've signed it. Now that may sound old-fashioned. It may not be flashy. But I'll tell you this, it's foundational. Because in a world full of noise, hype, and broken promises, the person who does what they say they'll do becomes rare and valuable. When you give your word, you're not just speaking, you're building trust. You're setting expectation. You're putting your name on the line. And here's the thing, people remember what you promise. They don't remember what you meant to do. They remember what you said you would do. And the people who thrive in life, who lead, who grow, who build legacies, they know a promise is not a suggestion. It's a bond. You don't say, I'll try to make it. You say, I'll be there, and then you show up. You don't say, I'll see what I can do, just to get out of the conversation. You say, here's what I'll do, and then you do it. Why? Because your word is your brand. It's the signature on every relationship you have. And the more you honor your word, the more others will honor you. Let me give you an example. Let's say someone tells you, I'll call you at 2 o'clock, and 2 o'clock comes, nothing. No message, no heads up, no follow through. It seems small, right? But that tiny crack, that one inconsistency, it begins to whisper, you can't fully rely on this person. And when that whisper grows, trust dies. Now, I'm not saying life won't get in the way. Sure it will, things happen. But integrity isn't about being perfect, it's about being accountable. If something shifts, communicate it. If you miss the mark, own it. If you give your word, protect it like it's a treasure. Because it is. Let me give you 3 truths about honoring your word. 1. Your word shapes your identity. Every time you keep a promise, you tell yourself, I'm someone who follows through. You build confidence. You build inner strength. And that internal belief, it spills out into everything you do. 2. Your word sets the tone in every relationship. People don't follow the loudest voice. They follow the most consistent one. And when your word is consistent, you become someone people depend on, not just at work. In friendships, in marriage, in leadership, your word becomes weighty. And that's a powerful thing. 3. Your word creates or costs opportunity. Let me be blunt. There are deals you'll never hear about, rooms you'll never be invited into, opportunities that will never knock. If you've got a reputation for flaking out, On the flip side, honor your word, and people will move mountains to work with you. They'll remember you. They'll refer you. They'll trust you with things they wouldn't trust others with. Now let me give you a challenge. Audit your speech. If you say I'll be there, do you mean it? If you say I'll get it done, is it really done? Are you handing out promises like candy, just to please people, or are you carefully, intentionally speaking only what you intend to keep? Because when your word becomes your contract, your life becomes a structure others can lean on. And people are looking for that. They're looking for someone who doesn't back out, who doesn't spin stories, who doesn't need to be reminded, because their word is enough. And if you're that person, the world will notice and reward you accordingly. Remember this, you don't have to say more to be taken seriously. You just have to mean what you say. So let your yes mean yes. Let your no mean no. Say what you'll do, then do it with excellence. Because in the end, talk is cheap, but your word when honored is priceless. That's what builds reputation. That's what builds respect. That's what builds a life that lasts. Lead with integrity, or don't lead at all. Let me say it plain and simple. If you're not going to lead with integrity, don't lead at all. Because leadership, real leadership, isn't about being loud. It's not about titles, parking spots, or how many people report to you. It's about example. It's about influence. And the most powerful influence you will ever have is your integrity. See, people don't follow talent. They don't follow charisma. They don't follow popularity. Not for long. They follow character. They follow consistency. They follow someone they can trust, especially when things go wrong. Let me give you the golden rule of leadership. People will do what you do before they do what you say. You can preach about values, talk about discipline, post about honesty, but if your actions don't match your words, no one's buying it. Because leadership isn't about managing tasks, it's about modeling behavior. Now here's what integrity looks like in leadership. You admit when you're wrong. You tell the truth, even when it might cost you. You treat the janitor and the CEO with the same respect. You don't promise what you can't deliver. And when you do promise something, you follow through like your name depends on it. Because it does. You see, when you lead with integrity, your presence brings stability. Your decisions create trust. Your example becomes the standard. And people don't just work with you, they believe in you. Let me share something my mentor told me years ago. He said, Jim, people will forgive your mistakes, but they won't forgive your hypocrisy. In other words, be human, be honest, but don't be fake. Because nothing breaks leadership faster than someone who demands from others what they don't require from themselves. Now maybe you're listening and thinking, well, Jim, I'm not a leader. I don't run a company or a team. Let me correct that. Everyone leads, at home, at work, in your community. Somebody's watching you. Somebody's learning from you. Somebody's being shaped by your example, whether you like it or not. So the real question isn't, are you a leader? It's what kind of leader are you? Let me give you 3 traits that define a leader of integrity. 1, transparency over perfection. People don't need you to be flawless. They need you to be real. When you make a mistake, say so. When you don't have the answer, admit it. Your honesty builds trust, and trust is the foundation of leadership. 2, decisions that match your values. Don't compromise principle for popularity. Don't say one thing in public and another in private, because people notice the gap, and once your credibility cracks, so does your influence. Make decisions that align with your convictions. That's where leadership strength comes from. 3, courage to confront what's wrong. Leadership isn't passive. If something violates your values, you speak up. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it costs you, that's how integrity earns respect. By standing when it would be easier to sit quiet. Now let me tell you something. Most people miss leading with integrity won't always make you popular, but it will make you respected, and respect. That's sustainable. It outlasts applause. It outlasts trends. It outlasts fame. Because long after people forget what you built, they'll remember how you built it. They'll remember if you cut corners. They'll remember if you stayed honest. They'll remember whether they felt safe around you or suspicious. So if you're going to lead, make the decision right now, today, to lead with integrity. Because here's what I know. You can build fast without integrity, but you won't build far. You can grow a crowd with charm, but you grow a legacy with character. And you can get people to follow your orders, but you'll only get them to follow your vision if they trust your heart. That's the kind of leader the world is desperate for. Not perfect, not flashy, just honest, steady, solid. So the challenge is simple. Be the leader you'd want to follow. Let your word be strong. Let your actions match your values, and let your example do the talking. Because if you're not leading with integrity, then you're not really leading. You're just managing shadows. And shadows don't last. But integrity, that lasts forever. Integrity strengthens you in crisis. Let me tell you something, every leader, every entrepreneur, every human being eventually learns, crisis doesn't build your character. Crisis reveals it when everything's going right. It's easy to look composed, easy to smile, easy to be generous, but when the storm hits, when the money dries up, the pressure turns up, or the spotlight turns away, that's when your real values come to the surface. And you'll discover something very important. In a crisis, it's not your skills that hold you together. It's your integrity. Skills may get you the job. Charisma may win the room. But when the heat is on and the winds start blowing, it's your principles, your commitment to what's right, that becomes your anchor. Because crisis shakes everything loose, except what's real. Now I've been through some storms, and I'll tell you when trouble came, it didn't ask for my resume. It didn't care how many seminars I'd taught. It asked one question, who are you really? And I had to answer, not with words, but with choices. That's the true test. Will you stay honest when lying would get you out quicker? Will you take responsibility when blaming someone else would protect your image? Will you show up with discipline when comfort would be easier? Because the pressure doesn't break you, it shows you. And if you've been building your life on integrity, brick by brick, decision by decision, then you've got a foundation strong enough to weather anything. Let me paint the picture. Imagine your integrity as a steel frame holding up a building. It's not decorative. You don't see it when times are good. But when the wind picks up and the ground shakes, it's that frame that keeps the whole structure from falling. That's what integrity does. And here's something else. People are watching you in crisis. They're not just watching how you react. They're watching what you rely on. They want to know, does he tell the truth when it's hard? Does she own her decisions? Or does she disappear? Do they treat people with respect, even when things go sideways? Because that's when credibility is either confirmed or destroyed. Now let me give you 3 ways. Integrity strengthens you during a crisis. 1. Integrity gives you clarity in chaos. When everything's uncertain, you need something certain. And if your values are clear, if your non-negotiables are set, you won't be paralyzed by panic. You'll move forward with conviction, not confusion. 2. Integrity earns you trust, when trust is scarce. In tough times, people don't look for the loudest voice. They look for the most steady one. And if you've built a reputation for truth and consistency, they'll follow you, even in the dark. Because they know, this person doesn't bend when things break. 3. Integrity keeps you proud of the person in the mirror. You might lose money, you might lose momentum, but you won't lose yourself. And that, my friend, is the most important victory of all. Let me tell you something. Integrity doesn't keep you out of storms, but it does keep you from drowning in them. Because when your conscience is clear, your mind is calm. When your decisions are honest, your next step is solid. And when your actions align with your principles, you'll sleep at night, even when the world is shaking. So when the crisis comes, and it will, don't wish it away. Use it. Use it to prove who you are. Use it to strengthen your discipline. Use it to lead others through the storm. Because in the aftermath, people won't remember the crisis nearly as much as they'll remember how you handled it. So here's the challenge. Start preparing today. Build the habits. Set the values. Train the reflex to do what's right, not what's popular, not what's comfortable, but what's right. Because when the crisis shows up at your door, it's too late to build integrity. You better have it already. And if you do, the storm won't shake you, the fire won't break you, and the weight of it all won't crush you. Because you've been built to stand tall. That's the strength of integrity. That's the anchor you can count on. Not just in success, but especially in crisis. The rewards of character are compound. Let me share a principle with you that's simple to understand, but life-changing when you live it. Character compounds. Just like money in the bank, character doesn't pay all its rewards up front. No, it grows quietly, day by day, choice by choice. And over time it produces dividends you can't buy anywhere else. Now listen, most people think of reward in the short term. They want the quick return, the instant applause, the fast win. But character plays a longer game. It's not just about today's benefit, it's about tomorrow's multiplier. Because while talent might open the first door, and charm might win the first crowd, it's character that builds the kind of reputation that lasts. Let me give you an example. You tell the truth. Even when it's uncomfortable, you meet the deadline. Even when it's inconvenient, you treat people with respect, especially when they can't offer you anything in return. Now at first, there may be no reward. No one claps. No one congratulates you for being honest, responsible, or kind. But here's what happens. Compounding begins. Someone notices. Someone remembers. Someone says, you know what? I trust them. And that trust opens a door. That door leads to a connection. That connection leads to opportunity. And that opportunity leads to legacy. All because you made the right choice when it didn't seem to matter. That's the law of character compounding. Just like planting seeds, you don't see the harvest in a day, but come back in a season, and the field is full. Now here's the thing, character compounds both ways. If you lie just a little, if you cut corners once, if you fail to follow through occasionally, that compounds too. And suddenly your reputation isn't solid, it's shaky, not because of one big failure, but because of 1,000 little ones that added up. So the real question is, which direction is your character compounding in? Because every time you tell the truth, follow through, or choose discipline, you're earning interest. And every time you justify the easy way out, delay what matters, or look the other way, you're paying interest. Let me share 3 big rewards that come from compounded character. 1, trust becomes automatic. When you've lived with integrity long enough, people expect you to do the right thing. You don't have to convince them. You don't have to oversell. Your name speaks for itself. That's credibility, and that kind of trust is priceless. 2, doors open without you knocking. A solid character becomes your silent advocate. It travels ahead of you. People talk. People refer. People remember. You won't need to chase every opportunity. Some will find you. Because in a world full of pretenders, the real deal stands out. 3, peace becomes your companion. Let me tell you, peace of mind is one of life's greatest rewards. And it doesn't come from wealth, or applause, or recognition. It comes from knowing you did right, that you held the line, that your success wasn't borrowed or faked, it was earned, and no one can take that from you. Now people ask me all the time, Jim, is it really worth it to walk the honest road? The high road? It seems slower, less exciting, less rewarding. And I say, maybe at first, but not in the long run. Not where it counts, because in the short term, you might lose a deal, but in the long term, you'll build a name. In the short term, you might be underestimated, but in the long term, you'll be undeniable. And in the short term, you might be alone, but in the long term, you'll be surrounded by people of substance. That's the payoff. Not fast, but faithful. Not loud, but lasting. So here's the challenge. Start treating every small act of integrity as a deposit into your character account, and let time do the rest. Keep showing up. Keep doing the right thing. Keep telling the truth. Keep honoring your word, because you're not just building habits, you're building compound strength. And one day, you'll look up and realize, the life you're living didn't come from luck. It came from alignment, between who you are and how you live. That's real success, and that's the reward of character, paid out over time, with interest. Live so your life speaks, even after you're gone. Let me tell you something worth remembering, for the rest of your life. You don't leave a legacy when you die. You leave it every day by how you live. You see, too many people are chasing achievement, but not enough are building significance. They want the recognition. They want the results. But they forget, the greatest reward isn't what you leave behind. It's what you leave within the people who knew you. Let me put it like this. Live so your life speaks, so that your name, when mentioned, doesn't just remind people of your success. It reminds them of your values, your consistency, your truth. Because at the end of the day, the most powerful voice you'll ever have is the example you lived, not the words you spoke. Now ask yourself, if you disappeared tomorrow, what would remain? Would your family remember your hustle or your honesty? Would your colleagues recall your results or your reliability? Would the people who crossed your path be grateful that they did, because they were better for knowing you? That's a legacy. Not the trophies, not the titles, but the trust, the principles, the lives you touched. Because you chose to live by a higher code. You don't need a stage to live that kind of life. You just need standards. Because character echoes, and integrity leaves footprints. And your actions, day by day, become the story that people tell when you're not in the room, or when you're no longer on this earth. And I'll tell you this, if you build your life on those principles, you won't need to chase legacy. Legacy will chase you. Now here's what's interesting. You are writing your eulogy every day. Not with pen and paper, but with how you treat people, how you respond to challenges, how you show up when no one else will, your choices, your attitude, your discipline. That's your legacy in motion. Let me give you 3 timeless ways to live a life that speaks long after you're gone. 1. Be unshakably reliable. Let people know, if you say it, you'll do it. If you start it, you'll finish it. Be the person others don't wonder about. They know what you stand for, because you've proven it, over and over again. 2. Stand for something higher than yourself. Don't just live for profit, live for principle. Be the one who does what's right, not just what's easy. Be the one who holds the line, even when the crowd moves the other way. That's what makes you memorable. That's what makes you missed. 3. Invest in people. Not just in projects, touch lives. Encourage others. Lift the room when you walk in. Build people, not just systems. Because at the end of the day, it's not the money that will remember you. It's the people. Now let me say this clearly. You don't have to be rich to leave a rich legacy. You don't have to be famous to live a life that echoes. All you have to do is live with such clarity, such purpose, such integrity, that your actions become a message. A message that says, this is what honesty looks like. This is what courage looks like. This is what excellence looks like. And when you live like that, you'll inspire people long after your time here ends. Your life will speak. It will tell a story, not of perfection, but of principled pursuit. Not of status, but of substance. Not of noise, but of nobility. So live now with the end in mind. Speak truth. Do good. Keep your word. Finish strong. Because legacy isn't about what you leave behind. It's about who you become while you're here. And when you live with that kind of clarity, you'll rest one day knowing you didn't just make a living. You made a difference. That, my friend, is how you live a life that speaks. Become the person worth following. So we've come full circle. We've talked about character. We've talked about integrity. We've talked about trust, follow through, discipline, and legacy. But let me leave you with the most important challenge of all. Become the person worth following. Not the loudest, not the most talented, not the most admired on social media, but the one who stands for something real. Because at the end of the day, people are always looking for someone to follow. Someone solid, someone honest, someone whose actions match their words. And the question is, will it be you? You don't need a big platform to lead. You don't need a spotlight to be significant. You just need consistency, clarity, conviction. You become worth following not by being flashy, but by being faithful. Faithful to your values. Faithful to your word. Faithful to the invisible standards, when nobody's keeping score. Now listen, this path isn't easy. You'll be tempted. You'll be tested. You'll be misunderstood. But stay the course, because the reward of living with integrity is not just success, it's respect. It's not just achievement, it's alignment. And it's not just the applause of others, it's the approval of your own conscience. You'll walk taller, speak clearer, sleep better, and lead stronger. People will know if you said it, you meant it. If you promised it, you delivered. If you built it, it was built right. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what builds loyalty. That's what lasts long after the noise fades. So here's your call to action. Don't just talk about values. Live them. Don't just demand trust. Earn it. Don't just hope to make an impact. Become the kind of person who does. Because in a world full of voices, what people are truly looking for is someone worth following. Let that someone be you.